Hi, I'm Anastasia with Do Yoga With Me. Today I'm going to take you through a series of poses that's going to increase the suppleness and strength of your spine. We're going to need a block for today's class, and if you don't have a block, then you can use a sturdy, thick, folded up blanket, and that should do the job. Have a great class. We're going to start today's class on our backs. Laying the body gently down, let's keep the knees bent. Pull the feet in towards the bum and then place them on the outer edge of the mats. Allow the knees to knock together. Lifting up the lower back, just a little bit away from the mat, pushing the tailbone towards the space between the heels and then slowly releasing the spine down, which is encased by our vertebrae. So this should give you a little bit more length on the lower spine. I'd also like you to notice if there's any tension across the shoulders, softly release them into the mat. Lift up the toes, find some space, and then release them down. Releasing tension from the jaw, the eye sockets, the fingers. We'll take 3 big cleansing breaths to begin. Inhaling through the nose. And release out the mouth, maybe making some sound. With each release, feel a deeper sinking into the mat. Inhale through the nose. Let it go. Last one, your biggest yet. Deep inhale. Take in as much air as you can. And let it go, pushing it all the way out. Today's class, we're going to be focusing on the spine, lengthening it and strengthening it. So we'll begin today's class by breathing up and along the spine from top to bottom. And we'll start by inhaling up the spine, starting with the lumbar spine, which begins just at the base of the back. So watching your breath travel up towards the mid-back or the thoracic spine, up to the shoulders, and then into the cervical spine, which is surrounded by the neck and comes into the base of the skull. As you exhale, you're going to watch that breath travel down through the cervical spine, thoracic spine, lumbar spine. If it helps, you can bring a quality to the breath, like a color. Maybe make it a bright white light. You might notice the inhales are cooling, the exhales are heat. See if with this breath you can slowly start to quiet the mind, bringing a real sense of mindfulness to this breathing, letting go of your day prior to this class. Letting go of any plans you have after class, really committing to be fully present on your mat with your breath and your body. Gently opening your eyes if they're closed. Let's bring the knees apart and walk the feet so that they're in line with the hips. Bring the arms closer to the body so that the hands are just touching the outsides of the hips. Spread the fingers wide. Again, let's lift the toes up, find some space. place them back down. On your inhale, you're going to peel the lower back away from the mat, mid back, upper back, opening across the shoulders. Exhale, releasing it down. As if we did at the beginning of class, you're going to really push that tailbone towards the space between the feet, lengthening the spine. Inhaling to come up. And exhale to come down. So allowing your breath to lead the movement. See if you can find a continuous flow with this movement. So no pausing at the top, just continuous movement as we lift and we release. This means you're going at your own pace, honoring the length of your own breath. And after your last exhale, we're going to meet with our lower backs on the ground. From here, we're going to stretch the legs out, bring the feet together. And we're going to come into a side bend, so like a crescent moon shape. We're going to start by walking the feet out to the right. So your feet might come off the mat. And then from here, we're going to walk the upper body up. So you can do that by lifting the shoulders, shimmying them over, lift the head, lift the shoulders, lift the head. Arms are going to come with you. You find a subtle opening on the left side of the body. So at the beginning of class, we're really trying to bring a gentle quality to the movement. We're not pressing our bodies too far. If you find that you have a little bit more space, you can bring that left ankle over the right. If you have more space still, let's stretch the arms above the head. And then you might consider cupping each opposite elbow, allowing the arms to really sink into the floor. And here we breathe. This is a really beautiful lateral bend for the spine. Good. From here, we're going to release the arms back down. Gently come out of the pose. First, the upper body, walking the head and the shoulders back to the middle of the mat. Uncross the feet if they're not already uncrossed, walking them back, and then allowing them to walk all the way over to the left side of the mat. Honoring that this side might feel a little bit different than the other. So always checking in with what feels comfortable, particularly at the beginning of class when our bodies still aren't warmed up. Maybe the arms come over the head. Maybe they cup opposite elbows. And maybe that right ankle comes up over top the left. You may find it helpful to locate the stickiest parts, the places you might feel the most tightness in this pose, and really send the breath to that part of your body. As we start to give more attention to our breath, as we go deeper into movement, I strongly encourage you to start using Ujjayi breath. That's a gentle constriction at the back of the throat. And this really helps us to lengthen the breath and to pay attention to the breath. Often in class we can forget to have that quality of deep breath, and so if we are hearing the breath, we're reminded to breathe in more deeply. So just a couple more breaths here. Let's bring those arms back. Bring the upper body back first, and then the legs. Let's pull the knees into the chest. Give those knees a squeeze. Bring the forehead up towards the knees, really round into that back. And then we're going to release, bringing the shins parallel to the floor. And we're going to work into the core a little bit here. So I want your arms out at T, your palms flat down, flex the feet. We're going to come into some sideways twists, but we're not going to release the legs down on the ground. We're going to use the core to keep them above the ground as we move from side to side. So let's start by taking a nice deep breath in. As we exhale, we're going to drop those knees towards the left. Right shoulder blade stays pressed into the mat. Let's inhale, come up, really engaging the core here. Right away, exhaling, come down to the right. You can press into the hands to help you with control here. Coming back to center. And then right away over to the left. Moving with your own pattern of breath. Allowing the movement to follow the breath. And one more on each side. And then we'll meet back in the middle. Good. Hug the knees into the chest again. Bring the forehead up to the knees. And then let's place the hands on the back of the thighs, and we're gonna roll forward and back a few times, massaging the spine. And then we're gonna come up into a cross-legged seated pose. Placing the hands down on the mat beside us, we're gonna lift the bum up and then press the tailbone back to find some length. You might remove the flesh from the sit bones. Let's place the hands down in front of us, activate the fingers. So we're gonna come into a really subtle fold here, and I want you to keep your spine nice and long here. There can be a tendency when we're folding forward to really reach into it by rounding the spine. But here, we're gonna keep that spine nice and long and strong. It might help you to take one of your hands and really press the lower back so that it moves in towards the belly. So we're finding the really natural curve and arc of the spine of the lower back. Take a nice deep breath in here. As we exhale, maybe hinge forward a little bit more. Inhale to lengthen, reach the crown of the head up and forward. And as we exhale, reaching that belly subtly down a little bit closer to the mat. Continuing to pull the sit bones down towards the mat. Maybe walking the hands out a little bit further if you've got space. Remember to keep the shoulders soft. So we don't want to be creating any tension at all in our bodies here. On an inhale, you're going to walk your body up. Stretch the legs out long in front of you, give them a little shake. Flex the feet back and forth, wiggle the toes. And then we're going to cross opposite side. This is probably your non-dominant side, so you might find it's a little bit more tight in the hips and the knees. And just welcome that. Placing the hands down in front of you. Really sinking the sit bones into the mat, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Really lengthen the spine, pushing the base of the spine into the belly. Find space across the collarbone, take an inhale, lengthen. And as we exhale, maybe hinge a little bit deeper. Maybe walking the hands forward. So in this pose, we really want to have a sense of our lower body grounding in and our upper body light and lifting. Noticing where there's tension, breathing into it. And an inhale will bring you up. And coming to hands and knees. So hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You can keep your toes flattened down into the mat, or you can flex them. whatever feels best for you. Start with a nice long spine. We're gonna go through a series of cat-cow, and I'd really like you to initiate from the base of the spine. So it's gonna be like a wave motion along the spine. Empty the lungs. As you inhale, lift the spine, lower the belly, pull the shoulders back, and lift the face. Initiating this movement as well from the tailbone. As we exhale, we're gonna pull that tailbone in and under, lift the belly towards the spine, round the shoulders, chin into chest, last heavy head. Initiating from the back, inhale. Head comes up last. And exhale, start at the base. Chin tucks in last. Moving at your own pace. Really feeling that wave of breath along the spine. Taking it as deep as feels good for you, never forcing it. Last round, and then we'll meet at a neutral spine. We're going to come into some sideways cat-cow. So we're going to start by lowering the belly and then lifting the side body up towards the left, arching the spine up, and then bringing the right side body down. Really softening into the shoulders and the elbows with this motion. Trying to keep the hips stable. So we're wanting to isolate the movement in the spine. One more full circle here, and then we'll move into the opposite direction. And then when that feels complete for you, just moving into some free range movement. So you might want to close your eyes for this to really feel into your body and your breath. Moving in whatever way feels good. You may want to pause at certain spots. They feel like they need some extra attention and stretching. Don't forget to breathe here. And we'll come back to neutral spine. Soften the shoulders once again. We're going to be here for a little bit longer on the wrists. So if you find that this is starting to feel uncomfortable, you might want to come up onto your fists. I'd like you to stretch that right leg out, really reach it back. We're going to flex the foot. So we're pressing back with the heel. Strengthening that hamstring by lifting it up. We're really looking for a straight leg here. So the leg is like a continuation of the spine. From here, we're going to take that foot towards the left side of the mat, so it's going to come off the mat. The toes are going to plant down. Take an inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to move the head around so that we can look at those toes. So there's going to be a stretch in the right side of the body. Taking care to not collapse into the shoulders, really activating the arms, pressing up. Excellent. Bring the head back to center, bring that foot back to the midline of the body, plant the toes. And then we're going to take that left foot and bring it out so it's parallel with the top of the mat. Opening our body up to the right side of the mat. We're going to come on to the left arm. Plant that right foot down, so we're pressing into the outside edge of that right foot. We're opening the body, lifting that right arm up. And here we're in a modified extended side angle pose. So that right arm can lift up into the air, or you can hug it along the outside of the head. So we're reaching those fingertips forward, really knitting the ribs in here, pulling the belly in. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little bit more with this pose, you can lift that right leg off the mat, and I want you to keep that foot flexed. Beautiful breathing. If that foot's in the air, placing it back down. Taking that right hand to the hip. We're going to come up into gate pose. I want you to engage the core. That's going to help protect the back as you lift yourself up. So gently come back up. Right hand's going to travel down the right leg. We're going to bring that left arm up and over the head. So we're reaching the fingers down towards the outside of that foot. Soften the left shoulder blade down the back. Tuck the belly in. Beautiful. On an exhale, releasing back down, let's come back to hands and knees. One round of cat-cow, inhaling. Belly down, head back, exhale. Arching the back, head comes down, chin meets the chest. Inhaling to a neutral spine. Extending that left leg out, activate the heel. Really pressing it out. Feeling really strong in that leg. Make sure your fingers are spread nice and wide. You want a nice solid foundation here. And then we're going to go through the same flow on the opposite side. So that left leg is going to come out to the right side of the mat. Plant the toes, take an inhale, and as we exhale, arch through the left side of the body, turning around to look at those right toes. Again, we want to make sure we're not collapsing into the shoulders, so pressing out through the hands, activate those elbows, activate the fingers. Finding our transition here, that leg's going to come to the midline of the body. Taking the right foot out so it's parallel with the top of the mat, planting the toes. That left foot is going to come down, pressing into the outside edge of the left foot, and then opening to the left side of the mat. Left arm can lift up into the air, or the bicep can hug the head. Whatever feels good for you. So check in with that lower back. Make sure that you're not arching in the lower back too much. You can protect the lower back by really pulling the belly in. Again, you're going to knit the ribs in towards each other. And we're really looking for some beautiful length along the spine. Maybe lifting that left leg up, keeping the foot flexed. That leg's in the air, placing it back down. Transitioning into gate pose. Left hand comes to the hip, engage the core, lift yourself up. Left arm releases down the leg, right arm swings up and over the head, arching through the right side of the body. Soften that right shoulder blade down the back. Always coming back to the breath. And on your exhale, coming back into hands and knees, walking the hands forward about a foot, keeping those fingers spread nice and wide, and we're going to find our way into downward facing dog. So you're welcome to walk the dog out. Heel to heel. You may find you like lifting both heels at the same time, coming into the toes and then releasing them down. Really whatever feels good for you in this first dog. Let's find some stillness for a few rounds of breath. So dropping that belly down, arching the lower back, pressing the hips back and up. There can be as much bend in the knees as you need. This is a really amazing pose for strengthening and lengthening the spine. Let's look to the top of the mat. Stepping up one foot, then the other. We're going to take a halfway lift. Inhale, hands come to the shins of the knees. Exhale, release, forward fold. Let's pause here for a few rounds of breath, maybe cupping opposite elbows. Noticing if most of the weight is in your heels and slowly starting to bring your balance forward so that you're also putting weight in the toes. Really draping that spine over the legs, allowing a nice, beautiful release here. Hands coming back down towards the mat. We're going to ragdoll our way up to standing, pressing into the feet. So bringing a lot of focus on the spine, really luxuriating in this slow unhinging and straightening. Staying with the breath. Head comes up last. And then, of course, bringing the shoulders up and down the back body. Bring the hands to the heart, moving through a few half sun salutations. On the exhale, we're going to bend through the knees, reach the arms up overhead, and skydive your way down. Exhale, slow, slow, slow. Follow that breath. Forward fold. Hands to the shins or the knees. Inhale, nice long spine. And we exhale, release down. Again, bringing as much bend into the knees as feels comfortable for you. And we're going to rebound, coming all the way up. Inhale, making a nice big circle with the fingertips, reaching up overhead, palms come to touch. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhaling again, reaching the arms up, stretch that spine. Exhale, lower. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Inhaling to come up. Touch the palms, hands come to the heart. And last time, reach the arms up. Exhale, so much like we were doing in that cat-cow, really bringing a waving quality to the spine, making it nice and soft, finding all the space between the vertebrae. This time we're going to inhale, come to a halfway lift, and we're going to stay. We're going to find a twist here. So starting with the right hand, I want you to take it to the outside of the left shin, so it might wrap around to touch the calf. The left hand comes to the left hip. Make sure that your knees aren't locked here. There's a really subtle bend. On the inhale, we're going to really reach the crown forward. So we're going to lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to twist, pulling that left shoulder back and turning the head to look at the side wall. If you find this is a little bit too much, you can travel that left hand up, maybe to the outside of the knee. Or if you find you can go a little bit deeper, walking that hand down. But we're not forcing it. Really, we're looking to be in this twist with a nice long spine. So if you find you're crunching or having to really contract, then that hand is a little bit too far down the leg. It might help to bring the palm to the lower back, pressing that lower back down in towards the belly so it's not too arched. And we're breathing here, of course. One more inhale to lengthen. And on the exhale, release down, forward fold. Right away, halfway lift. And coming to the twist on the opposite side, Left hand comes to the outside of that right shin, maybe cupping the calf. Right hand comes to the hip or palm on the lower back. So there's a slight bend in those knees. Let's inhale, lengthen, reach the crown forward, and as we exhale, we twist. So not only is this a really great twist for the spine and the vertebrae, it's a core exercise. So the stronger our core is, the stronger our spine will be. And that's really the foundation of having a strong and healthy back, is having a nice strong core, strong abdominal muscles. We're breathing here. One more inhale to find length. And exhale, release down, forward fold. Bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, flat back. And exhale to bring you all the way back up, standing. Bring the hands to the heart. Close the eyes. Take a nice deep inhale. Let it go at the mouth. One more time. Open the eyes, bring the arms down. Right away, we're going to inhale, bring the arms up over the head. We're going to come into a really gentle balance here. So we're looking for a nice long spine throughout this entire balance, balancing into the toes. So before we begin, I really want you to tuck your belly in, pull that tailbone down so we're not arching too much in the lower back. Soften the shoulder blades down the back, really activate the fingers, empty the lungs. As we inhale, we're going to lift up into the toes. And as we exhale, release down the arms and the heels. And again, inhale. And exhale. So let's move at your own pace with your own breath. With any balance, it helps to find a drishti point, so a point of focus. The easiest kind of drishti point is to find about 3 or 4 feet off the top of your mat. You can challenge your balance by looking off into the horizon and making your point of focus a little bit higher up the wall. Moving as slowly as you can. Couple more cycles. And after your last exhale, let's meet in Tadasana, mountain pose. Palms gently facing forward. Close the eyes. Just take a moment to check in with your body. Doing a gentle scan from toe to crown. Let's open the eyes. Let's inhale, reach the arms up once again. Looking down to the feet, stepping the toes out to the outsides of the mat. Bring the heels in. Again, we're challenging our balance. And then we're going to slowly sink down into a squat from here. So bending in really slowly through the knees. Good. Finding your way into a squat. You may find that you're more comfortable up on your toes, or you may find you want to come down onto your heels, whatever feels good for you. Placing the elbows and the insides of the knees, bring the palms together, really drop that tailbone down, and from that dropping tailbone that's reaching down, from the heavy lower foundation, we're going to really reach the spine up and lengthen it. So we're lifting out of that pelvic girdle. We're going to make our way into a twist here, so let's bring that right arm up and around that knee. Left arm's going to come around the back, And then you're going to reach your hands together. If they don't come together, that's totally fine. Maybe a finger can clasp another finger, or maybe you can go as far as clasping the whole hand. And again, coming back to that quality of heaviness in the lower half of the body and lifting out of the spine. And then we're going to slowly start to rotate the spine towards the left. Pull that left shoulder blade back. Really beautiful breathing here, always helpful, particularly in a twist. An inhale can lengthen and an exhale can deepen. And on your inhale, we're going to release, come back to center. Take one deep inhale here. Let it go at the mouth. And then twisting in the opposite side. And an exhale will bring you back to center. Plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. You may find you want a little bit more rest, and you're welcome to come into child's pose here. We'll stay for a few rounds of breath. Making your way back into downward facing dog if you're in child's pose. Let's look to the hands, step the right foot forward, coming into a lunge, lowering that knee down, keeping the toes tucked. Lift the body up, place the hands on the knee. You're welcome to keep the knee lowered, or if you'd like, you can press up that knee, straighten out that back leg, and come into a bit of a deeper full lunge. On the inhale, let's lift the arms up in the air, sink those hips down. You really want that spine to be long, soft. As we inhale, let's reach the arms up, gentle back bend. And on the exhale, we're going to float the hands forward so that they're parallel with the floor. Inhaling to come up. And exhale to release down. Activating that back leg by lifting through the hamstrings, pressing through the heel. One more time down. Meeting back at the top. Place the hands down on the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Looking to the hands, stepping the left foot forward, dropping that knee, keep the toes tucked, lifting the hands up to the knee. You're welcome to come into the full lunge if you'd like. So lifting that right knee off the mat, pressing in through the back heel. Let's reach the arms up over the head on the inhale. Exhale, hinge the hips forward, lengthen and reach that spine out. Inhale to come up. Again, moving with your own pattern of breath, allowing the breath to guide the movement. Last one, we'll meet with our arms up in the air. And an exhale brings the hands down, step back to the knees, and sink back into a child's pose. Take a big breath in and release out the mouth. Let's make our way back into downward facing dog. step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to come all the way up to standing. Reach the fingertips up into the sky. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Let's step back with that right foot, about 3.5 feet, making our way into warrior two. So we want that front heel to line up with the midline of that back foot, outside edge of the foot parallel with the mat, sinking into the knee. Always taking care that we can see the big toe. And the motion we're looking for is an opening of the hips, so we're really pressing the outside edge of that left knee towards the outside edge of the mat. Bring the arms to T. We'll stay for a few rounds of breath here. On an inhale, straighten that front leg, reach that front arm up. Right hand goes down the back leg. Modified reverse warrior. Exhale, bending into that front knee. Extended side angle. Lift that right arm up over. And we're going to flow through those two poses. So inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. So trying not to pause between movements, making it one complete movement. Really leading with your heart here, finding the dance in this movement. Inhaling, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. We're going to meet an extended side angle. Stay for a breath. Opening that heart up, reaching it up towards the ceiling. Good. And inhale is going to bring us back up to warrior two. Straighten that front leg. We're going to turn, go the opposite side. So we're going to bend into that right knee, adjusting your pose so that you have the proper alignment. Warrior two. So we've done a lot of great work with the spine. Can you really bring a quality of strength and a quality of flexibility to this pose? Finding our way into our flow, empty the lungs here as you inhale. Reverse warrior with a straightened front leg. Exhaling, extended side angle. We'll meet an extended side angle. Sinking those hips down, reaching the spine out of the hips. Finding lots of nice, beautiful length. Inhale is going to bring you up to warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Bring the hands to the hips, point the toes to the front of the mat, and gracefully step to the top of your mat. Mountain pose. Bring the arms alongside the body, palms facing forward, and let's close the eyes. With the eyes still closed, we're going to reverse ragdoll our way down, starting by tucking the chin into the chest, and vertebrae by vertebrae, rounding and rolling forward, dropping the shoulders. Place the hands down And making your way onto your belly. Bring the arms down alongside the body. Place your forehead down on the mat. We're going to come into locust pose. We're going to do 3 versions, and this is a really wonderful exercise both for the spine and the abdominal muscles. It really works in deeply into those abdominal muscles. So we're going to start by pressing the tops of the feet into the floor of the mat. Setting up for this back bend, we're going to press the pelvis into the mat, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor of the mat. Walk the fingertips away from the shoulders to lengthen through the arms and allow the shoulders to come away from the ears. Empty the lungs. On an inhale, lift the head and the hands and maybe the feet away from the mat. So in this pose, we're looking for a nice long spine, reaching the toes and the crown of the head in opposite direction, rather than looking to go up further. Lengthen first, and then see if there's any space to come deeper into the back bend. Stay with the breath. One more inhale might bring you up a little bit higher. And exhale to release. Put one cheek to the mat, come into rest. Version 2, forehead comes back down to the mat. Bring the arms to T, palms face down. Setting up once again to start from a safe place, protecting that lower back. Release breath, and an inhale will lift you up. Reaching the toes away from the crown. One more inhale. Exhale, releasing opposite cheek to the mat. Coming to rest. Final version, forehead comes to the mat once again. Bring the arms to the lower back. Interlace the fingers, have them rest at the lower back. Keeping the hands here. Lifting the forehead, shoulders, feet. And then if there's space, you can start to straighten those arms, reaching the palms together, pulling those shoulder blades towards each other in the back. A really nice, beautiful opening of the collarbone. Maintaining your breath. One more inhale might bring you up a little bit higher, might lengthen your spine a little bit longer. And we exhale and release. Press back into child's pose. You can keep your knees together, bring them apart, whatever feels best for you. Lifting out of child's pose, and let's make our way onto our back again. We're going to do some more core exercises here. So bringing your feet in towards your bum to start. Now for here, we're going to be doing some leg lifts, and you may want to do it with your hands just at your side with your palms down, or if it's better for your lower back, you may want to place them underneath your bum just to give your back a little bit more support. So you can start with one, and then of course if you don't have enough support, switch halfway through the lifts. Let's straighten the legs out. So as we did in the beginning of class, we're really focusing on keeping that spine pressed into the mat nice and heavy. Soften the shoulders. And we're really looking in these series of movements to not hold tension anywhere in the body. We can tend to really do that when we're trying really hard. So that's part of this pose, is not only increasing our strength, but trying to release tension as well. So we'll start with an exhale. And as we inhale, pointing the toes and lifting the legs up into the air. As we exhale and release, we're going to flex the feet. Point the toes to come up on the inhale. Flex the feet. Exhale to release. We're going to do about 5 more. Of course, if you feel done, you're welcome to just lay down your legs and wait for us to catch up. Or you can challenge yourself, really looking for your edge. Last one on the inhale. And exhale to release all the way down. If your hands are underneath your bum, bringing them out, bringing the knees up. You want to pull the heels in far enough that you can tickle them with the fingers. Find your block. And then we're going to come into a supported little bridge here. So there's 3 ways that you can have your block. Here's the lowest version. There's the middle version. And then the highest version. So I'm going to recommend you not go to the highest version first, unless you're a really experienced yogi and you know that you have a lot of flexibility in your lower back. If you're somewhat new to yoga, definitely start with this lower level. And if you feel like there's a little bit more space, you can always switch to the mid-level halfway through the pose. So we're going to lift that lower back off the mat, and again, really pushing that tailbone towards the space between the feet. Lift, lift, lift. And placing the block wherever you've chosen to have it, just at the lower back here. So you'll find if it's not quite in the right place, that block is going to have a tendency to want to flip over. So just play around with it until it feels really solid, like you've got a good foundation. And then release the hands along the mat, tucking the chin in gently towards the chest to lengthen that cervical spine, the neck. Release the shoulders. And then just pause here, maybe close the eyes. You may want to come back to that breathing practice we had at the beginning of class, following the breath along the spine. You may want to count your inhales and exhales. The most important thing that you're doing here is having some sort of mindfulness practice, so something that's anchoring you in the present moment. At this point in class, where we start to slow down our movements, it can be easy to get distracted. So coming into whatever practice you feel is going to help you stay present. So at this point, you may find you want to lift the block up to the next level. So you can come into your toes, lift your bum up. Find the right spot so it feels solid. And then lay yourself back down. Take about 2 or 3 more rounds of breath here. To come out of this pose, lifting up on the toes, engaging those core muscles to protect the lower back, lifting the bum away from the block. Remove the block, and then we're going to come down vertebrae by vertebrae, softly releasing the spine into the mat. Once our entire back is on the mat, stretching the legs out long in front of you, and finding your way into Shavasana. Close the eyes. So taking a few moments to really get comfortable, make sure that you're Whole body feels supported by the mat. Release your Ujjayi breath. Come to your normal pattern of breath. And again, using Shavasana as a mindfulness practice. So there's a gentle focus on your surroundings, your breath and your body. We'll slowly make our way out of Shavasana by first deepening the breath. Sending your breath all the way down to the tips of your toes and then out of the crown. Once you're ready, making micro movements with the body. And then listening to your own intuition about how quickly you want to start waking up the body, how quickly you want to start increasing the movements, what you want to move first, what needs a little bit more rest. Kind of like that free movement we did after our cat and cows. This waking up process doesn't need to look like anything. It just needs to feel good. Eventually rolling to one side, curling up into a fetal position, which is actually a really lovely pose to be in at the end of our spine class. This is the position the spine was in the womb. Really plays upon the natural curve of the spine. Let's take 3 shared breaths before we come up into seated. Inhale. Exhale at the mouth. Last one. Pushing out every last drop of breath. And then making your way up. So you can come to cross-legged seated pose. You can come to your knees, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. Let's close the eyes. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a moment of gratitude for your spine, all that it does for your body, the way it supports you day in, day out. And gratitude for yourself for taking the time out to bring strength to your body, bring calm to your body. Namaste.